So yeah, they were working on that record. It was almost finished. Matt had the great idea to send the tape to the studio for Tommy LaPuma, who was Miles' producer, to hear at the time. Not with any really like ulterior motive, like we're going to get Rick on the record or whatever. He thought he would just send it to him and see what happens. So I'm in New Orleans and I get a call from Tommy, who said, Rick, we just listened to the tape. The tape actually sat there for a couple months, so I kind of forgot about it. And I think Tommy called me before he even called Matt, because Matt would have called me to tell me this, but Tommy called and said, Rick, just heard the tape, and I played it for Miles over the phone. And Miles heard it and said, he said, tell him he has a job. So that's literally, like a storybook kind of fairy tale kind of happening. And at that point, the record was almost done, but Miles said we want him on the record, so I went in and just played the melody on one of the songs. But as a result of that, I ended up touring with Miles for 6 weeks in the summer of 1989.
Did you have a lot of interaction with him? What was it like?
Yeah, before I moved to New York, I went to New York, I guess to meet with the Blue Note people, but also to meet Miles, because Tommy said, Miles wants to meet you. So it was, he had an apartment on Central Park South at the Essex House, and it was 2 apartments where they knocked down one wall, so it was a double apartment looking straight down the park. And I was terrified. I wasn't sure if he was going to ask me to play or what it was going to be like. So I had my horn, and outside on his apartment door was a sign saying, please take off your shoes. So I stood there with my shoes and my saxophone for maybe about 10 minutes, like literally just sitting there until I finally got the courage to knock on the door. And he opened the door, and I always remember this. Of course, he had a pair of leather pants on and no shirt. And he had a smile on his face that made me feel like I had known him forever and put me completely at ease. And he said, how the fuck did you learn to play like that? He literally said that to me. It's like, I said, Miles, I've been listening to you, I felt completely relaxed. I go in, he said, sit down. He went into this huge walk-in closet, tried to find a shirt, and he said, I have all these fucking clothes and I can't find a shirt to wear. And then he went on his desk, or there's a dining room table, and he was searching through all these cassette tapes and, a bunch of different stuff, and he just found a tape. He said, I'll see you on stage. Luckily, I had seen that band several times, so I kind of knew the structure of the show, and Kenny was on the band, so the idea was to do 2 saxophone players. So we played one gig in Stockholm, and after that gig, Miles collapsed backstage. He fainted because he was not in good health. So the next morning I get on the bus, and Miles said, it's too much energy now for me to have another person on stage, to have to think about who's soloing, how am I going to restructure things. So he said, I'll call you when Kenny leaves. So I played one concert, and I basically flew home the next day, or the next, 2 days after that. They gave me 2 weeks pay, and I was home, and I was like, what just happened? Was it that bad? It was definitely shell shocked. It's like, so what happened is a couple weeks or a month later, they're getting ready to do this other tour, and at the airport, Kenny asked for more money at the last minute, and they said no. Management said no, so Kenny took his suitcases and left. he had been with Miles enough that I guess that he had nothing to prove or nothing to worry about. So he just left. So I got the call. It was Miles. He said, Kenny just left. We need you. And of course, the experience of being around him on a nightly basis was great because you learn so many things. I realized that he wasn't improvising every night. A lot of the times he was playing the same stuff, but it was always in a different place. So you're improvising with placement in terms of, instead of improvising with content.
So it's that same thing we were talking about.
Exactly.